Well, good morning from the Hill Homestead. I found myself this morning in the place I call my happy place, out in the backyard of our little acreage. Yeah, I've got a good friend named Paul, Wiley Paul, and he must be starving for entertainment because he told me that after my last video that he could stand a couple more videos of my what he called rambling. I'm not sure it's qualified as rambling or what it is exactly, but I retired several years ago, and I thought, man, I am going to sure miss all that jazz. What am I going to do to keep myself busy? Well, 6, 7 years later, I ended up with 3 dogs, 5 cats, and about 10 hours a day by myself. So sometimes to entertain myself, I'll think and sometimes even talk out loud, or think maybe the dogs might understand, and about things that cross my mind. And I was thinking about today some of the stuff that has changed since I retired, and so many things that have remained the same. One thing that did change was being around people. That was a hard pill. But something that didn't change is problems. Yeah, my problems might be smaller now. I don't have 500 employees waiting for me to say a get busy speech, but they may seem smaller than anybody that has to deal with the general public on a daily basis, or who didn't like their hamburger flipped that way, or just in a sundry of little problems that come up. But life is about problems. It truly is. And I learned as a young man, grappling with what I thought were the problems of the world, or unsurmountable problems that no one else had to encounter but myself. And I became dissatisfied with the way that I approached solving my problems. Until one day, I had an epiphany. And I told myself, if I have a headache, I take an aspirin. If I have a stomach ache, I take Pepto-Bismol. Quick cures. Quick fixes for the problems of a headache or a stomach ache. All too often, however, the problems can't be solved with a pill and a gulp of water. So I came upon something that served me well most of my life of how to tackle problems. Once I did, my problems became so much easier to deal with and so much easier to overcome. And at one point, I was actually kind of embarrassed that it was that silly, that easy, that I had not done it before. And I'd like to share that with you. When struck with a problem, there's a really simple solution to whatever the problem is. But it's a formula. And that formula goes something like this. So I've got this problem. Very first thing I need to do is ask myself, can I live with the situation? Whatever situation the problem's caused, can I live with it? If the answer is yes, problem solved, right? Move on to the next task. However, all too often the answer is no, I can't. Well, that's great. That moves you into question number 2. What am I going to do about it? What am I going to do to alleviate this problem, alleviate this situation, change what's happening? So I come up with a goal that I'm going to do A, B, and C, and I'm going to give it a couple of months. I don't have much of a patience, so sometimes it's only a couple of days, but give it the time it needed to percolate and see if this new goal or plan I put in place solved the problem. So let's just pick a happy number 2 months later. And the problem is still there. The monkey's still on my back. Maybe at a lesser degree, maybe at a tougher degree. So that back to the formula. Okay. Well, I did this, that, and another about the problem of the situation. Can I live with it? Can I live with the results that I've obtained to this point? If the answer is yes, you're a miracle worker. Congratulations. Again, however, all too often, sometimes the answer is no. So I asked myself again, okay, so I can't live with the situation the way it has evolved to. What am I willing to do about it? What changes am I willing to make? And when one of those changes or modifications are solidified in my mind, then I'd go forward, let it percolate. Sometimes it's 2 weeks, sometimes it's 2 days. I would know. You know, your gut has a way of telling you it's working or it's not. So at the end of that time, the problem has been resolved. There's not a magic number. It made two attempts, 5 attempts, 15 attempts. It doesn't matter because you're working on the problem. So when it is solved, I find that it was most of the time painless. All too often, wasn't that big a problem in the first place. But that formula served me well for most of my life. So when you have a problem, a situation, or a roadblock that comes up in your path, just stop. Ask yourself, first of all, can I live with this? If the answer is no, what am I going to do? How am I going to rectify it? Come up with a plan, put the plan in motion. Let it percolate. However much time it takes for your gut tells you it is or isn't working, ask yourself the next question. Well, that helped, but it didn't alleviate the problem. What am I going to do? What am I willing to do? Come up with a plan, formulate a path, stay on the path, let it percolate. I think you'll find that most of the times you only have to do that once or twice. Because if you listen to your gut, it'll tell you pretty much what the answer is, if you let it percolate. So, that's it, Wiley. That's my ramblings for the day. Everybody have a great day out there from the Hill Homestead. Goodbye.